Report unusual behavior. Barricade your homes. Avoid all contact with infected individuals. Wait for official instructions. Wait my ass.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday live stream. We are on episode 37, and we are starting something new tonight. Asked for from last week, how to sculpt a character or creature from the Callisto protocol. So we're going to start that tonight, and basically I'm just going to sculpt, and you guys can ask me any questions you like, and we can just go on from there. Before we get started, though, I'm just going to share with you the membership video, and we'll be back in 1 minute. So, you want to join my membership?
Gotcha. Sign up.
By joining, you won't only unlock members-only content, you'll also be supporting my channel and the growth of the community. Are you ready to do your part?
I'm doing my part.
For as little as a price of coffee a month.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
You'll be able to access all past live streams and get exclusive members-only content.
Yeah, boy.
That's less than 49p a video.
Shut up and take my money.
So if you're ready, join now and become part of this 3D journey.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
All right, so as you saw there, you become a member and you'll be able to grab all the past live streams that we've done so far. We've done a dragon tutorial. We're currently working on an anatomy tutorial on Mondays. And then on Thursdays, there's all the chilled events or chilled streams, which is tonight. And we've got about 4 projects that we've done in that. That's more like conceptual work, as well as me just shooting the talk of the night. So if you guys have any questions you want to ask me, that you can ask me on Thursdays. But yeah, so that's on the membership of YouTube. And then of course I've also got a Patreon if you want to support me through Patreon. They're currently finishing off the ZBrush tutorial, exclusive ZBrush tutorial on how to sculpt a Velociraptor using ZBrush from beginning to end. Sort of perfect for beginners as well as experienced artists if they just want to see how I go about doing things. But it's brilliant for beginner artists, and also you'll be able to get a cool portfolio piece in your portfolio. All right. Oh, and there is a 50% off tonight, or 50% off this week, this month, for the Halloween special. So if you want, grab the coupon code in the description box below on all my online stores. I think Fit Normals and ZBrush are the only ones you don't need a coupon code for. They just take it off automatically at the checkout. So if you want to grab something for 50% off, like a tutorial, a model, or a brush, then you can grab them for 50% off the rest of the month, and then it'll go back to normal in November. Cool. All right, let's start things up. So here we go. I'm just going to put the chat up as well. Hello, everybody. Joseph Bunkowski. Nice to see you again. And tomorrow evening. Cool. Just going to grab my music. There we are. Some Halloween music. And also, I need to share the screen, don't I? Because I'm not sharing the screen right now. Give me 1 second. There we are. So inside of ZBrush, brand new project. We're going to start work on. We won't finish it tonight because it's one of those sculpts that it takes about, depending on how well you want, it could take about 6 hours to make. And I don't have 6 hours tonight, so we'll just see how much we can get through in about an hour, hour and a half. We are focusing on, let me just grab it. We've got some images here. So we are going to focus on a creature from the Callisto Protocol game. Kind of like the Dead Rising, not Dead Rising, it's Dead Space game. But this one came out way after Dead Space, but I think it's got the same functionality as Dead Space. And they're just mutated humans. Someone asked me in the chat last week, where we were finishing off the Godzilla version, or the Godzilla bust, if we were going to, if he could make, or if I could show you how I make a creature like this one with all the boils and pusses. And I've actually made one before, which is this guy, which is kind of in line with the one that's in the game. So I thought, why not try it out again? And this time you can see exactly how I go about doing it. Just got some reference images here, nothing special, just all of these are from the game itself. So these are from actual concept artists and artists that worked on the game. And if I bring this over and I move this out the way, you'll see here, you can find them all on Artstation. My favorite, Jared S. Morantz, is one of my favorite artists. He was the one that made the big guy, the big boss design. Concept, I think it was, which is really cool. Very easy, but really cool to create that one. And then, of course, we have Saber Molnor. I hope that's how you say his name. And he was probably the one person that if you want to do this sort of work, or you want to do this sort of creature design, you probably want to look at his work the most, because he's the one who actually came up with a lot of the final artwork for the game. So there's some really cool stuff in here. So what I've done is I've just gone in and I've just picked out a few things from each of their portfolios, and I've just stuck it in here. And we're going to just use this as a base reference for what we're going to do. So I'm just going to make this smaller. Just stick this at the base here. And I'm actually going to reopen this one, but I'm going to have it on the other screen because I need to see what the images look like in a bigger version. So just off screen, I have it open down there as well. Hi, Hamid, nice to see you again. I think you were the one that asked for this, so hopefully this is going to be good for you. Okay, so how do I go about starting this? Well, there's a couple of ways you can go about starting this. There's the normal shape block out way, or if you want to speed things up a little bit faster, then you can go ahead and use a already created character or model. And where you can find that is in the light box up here on the left hand side up there. It's a thing called a light box, and you can use either male or female. This comes with a ZBrush, so it doesn't matter which one you pick. It's going to ask you, would you like to save the changes? Say no, and it'll just open up a new scene. So I typically, when I'm doing a character or creature, mostly biped, obviously, I will actually start off with a human, with this human, because I don't really need to know the anatomy, structure, and building from primitives. It's just very slow. And when you're working in the studios or in-house, you won't, let me say about 7 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, you won't be required to sculpt from scratch a human body. They'll probably have something in their archive, or you'll have MetaHuman or anything like that to build a base model up, and then you can use that. So we're just going to do that as well. Hey, Cakester, nice to see you there. Just saying hi to the people in the chat. Yeah, so we're just going to use this instead because I'm a bit lazy and it's a bit faster. Right, so if we have a look here, the good thing about this creature, because we're going to kind of focus on the same one we did up here, but I'm going to try and incorporate a few more details and a bit more realism into the next one. So the good thing about this creature that we're going to sculpt, because I'm not going to go for this one or this one on the left, because those are very detailed asymmetrical sculpts. That's something that would take you about a good, I don't know, 30 hours, something like that, to try and sculpt something like that. If it was a speed rush or speed run or something, I'm not an expert on how long it would take. Everybody's a different sort of speed, obviously. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use this one on the far right, and on the far right here, we're just going to use that one as a base for what we're going to do. And actually, I'll just make this bigger. I'll just show you what I mean. So we're going to incorporate this head here, right? This one. Let me just actually get the drawing tool out. Let me see if there's a drawing tool in here. Ah, there it is. Cool. Let's make this a red. So we're going to use this head here. And I actually want to make the arms asymmetrical for this one. So I want to actually have a claw on one arm and then a hand on the other, which I think would look really cool. And as we go further along with this concept, we're going to make this a bit more asymmetrical. So you see up here on the right-hand side up here, I kind of like the way this is happening on his body here, sort of pus boil type thing that's going on. So we might actually incorporate some of this, maybe on the left-hand shoulder, right-hand shoulder, maybe the stomach, depending on how far we want to go with it. But there's also the ones down here that you can see. This is this extreme one here because it's got two bodies on it, and that's total asymmetrical sculpting, and that is something that is very, very complex to do. We don't have much time in the evenings to do that. Might make an actual tutorial on how to do that sort of thing, a real tutorial, but for tonight, for these live streams, I don't want to bore people by making a very, very long. I don't want to make it seem like a tutorial. It's more of a chilled, relaxed session, so you guys can ask me questions and we just sculpt away. So yeah, maybe as a tutorial piece it'll look pretty cool, but not for this live stream. So we'll just keep it to the basic biped. This kind of sculpt here is what we're aiming for, but we're going to incorporate a few other things into it. And also I have a brush for this as well, so like the pus and boils brush. So that's going to actually speed things up a little bit more. You can buy that online, by the way, on my online stores. You'll know it when you see it. All right, so let's see. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to delete the high res. I'm going to now. There's two ways you can do this. You can do this all the body connected, right, in one piece, or you can do it with separate body pieces. I think it's easier to sculpt with separate body pieces than it is to sculpt with one mass piece. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn on the line and fill. And I'm just going to get the selection tool out. I'm going to select the head. By the way, how's everybody been? Hope everybody's having a great Halloween month. It's my favorite time of the year. I haven't actually watched any horror films lately. I'm just going to group this real quick. I haven't watched any horror films lately. I've been kind of sort of watching, what was it called? Alice in Borderland on Netflix. Has anyone seen that? Let me know what you think if you've seen it. I'm kind of, obsessed with it for some reason. I'm on the 3rd season as it is. I actually started watching it a couple of years ago, and I thought, it's all right. It's not great. But then, obviously, with the way TV and films are today, I decided to jump back into it, to give it another go, basically. And yeah, it's really actually a very good show. Now, of course, there's the differences between Western acting and East Asian or Asian acting, which is a bit of a it's a little bit difficult to get into until you see it enough and you think, oh, okay, yeah, that the way they're acting is fine, because they like to over exaggerate a lot of things when they act in the shows. I think it's because it's maybe coming from a culture that loves those manga books, and if you've read manga or looked at manga, that they are quite over exaggerated most of the time in the way they act and the way they're drawn, and I think that's kind of bled into the live action stuff as well. But like I said, once you get over that and you just watch the show and you sort of accept the way they act, it's not that bad. It's quite cool. I'm not going to make this too fancy. I'm just going to actually, let me just cut it through here. That's just going to be easier. I'm trying to get a good edge loops, but I don't think it's going to be necessary for what we're going to do with this anyway, so I'm not going to bother too much about that. Dragon Shaman King YZ, what a heck of a name, says, hello, thank you for the stream. Thank you for joining the stream. Hamid says, is that going to be completely new mutant creature inspired by Callisto Protocol or recreating the old one you made before? It's going to incorporate things from my version, but then I'm also going to, like I say, pick out a couple of items. So it's going to be like mine, but it's going to have more Callisto in it, I guess you could say. Some more items of Callisto. Maybe even a pants on this guy, you know? Maybe I'll even go that far and show you how to create sort of basic trousers for the character or whatever. We'll see. Oh, no problem, Cakester. Giving you some feedback. Yeah, I can't remember. Was that the Tooth Fairy? Was that the Tooth Fairy one? Or was that someone else? There was two people I gave some feedback to on Discord. So, yeah, but, you know, I'm glad it helped. Cool, so going to split these now. Actually, you don't have to do that. You can just come down to split and go to split groups and just say okay. And now we have all the separate pieces. I'm going to put the head at the top and then the body and then the legs at the bottom. This is just, you know, chronological order whilst I work on it. So now that we have that, we can go ahead, use a Dynamesh, and this is actually going to be better for using Dynamesh because you'll get more detail in the resolutions and stuff out of it. So that should be good. I'm going to completely take out the facial features because we're going to, like I say, mimic this one here. In fact, he has got ears, but we won't worry too much about that for now. The Basilisk Lizard, that's right, Caster, yeah. Yeah, it's the Basilisk Lizard. It's really cool, nice design. It's going really well. I think the whole Udemy thing you asked for, I think you'd have to make a special tutorial. I think I've made a tutorial on how to set up Udemy and stuff like that for film and the differences of it. I think it's in the pay for creature pipeline, character pipeline. I think it's in there that I've made it. So if you want, you can grab it from there. But I think maybe I'll have to discuss that sometime in the future on a different sculpt or a different tutorial. Right, so this one's got a bit of a caved in head. You can just see from the side here. What I like about this one actually is it's got no eyes, and I'm quite a fan of creatures that don't have any eyes, so it's going to work really well on this guy. Just getting the shapes right before I start to commit to anything. Just having fun with it. That's the best thing about this part of the sculpt is there's no limitations. There's nothing grounding you unless, you know, or apart from the concept, obviously, but you can just go ahead and have some fun with it. And you can jump between each model if you want as well. Right, so the body, we're going to have a typical body, a typical type of body to begin with, a bland looking body down here. So just your base body. Use a damn standard to pull out the pecs. Now, the good thing about using a pre-made model is that most of the landmarks are there for you, so you don't have to worry too much about fixing things. Halloween animation at the bottom. Yeah, I know. I saw that as well. I think I spelt Halloween wrong. I haven't had a chance to change that yet. Thank you, Cakester. Yeah, like I was saying, the best thing about this is you can you have some of the landmarks already pointed out for you, and what you're doing is just working with them. Right now, the back's going to be a bit of a lump if we take a look at the back of some of these characters. So we don't have to worry too much about the anatomy through here, because it's all going to be updated with blobs of whatever is going on in the back. With some obliques through here. If anybody's been following the other live streams that I've done so far, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say obliques from the anatomy live streams. Okay. Let's grab the arms now. And let's just... Now I'm going to sculpt them symmetrically for quite a while. And then near the end, I'm going to change it to asymmetrical so that it speeds things up. This is how you would how I typically go about doing it. I'll make everything symmetrical as far as I can go, and then just before the end, just before I need to make a final model out of it or concept, I'll start to do asymmetrical sculpting. All right, so arms are quite thick. I was actually watching the gameplay of Calypto whilst I was working today, trying to see the sort of the characters and the creatures in the actual game whilst I was at work. There's really cool stuff on there. No blur. Don't mesh the legs. Some really fascinating things, but I think if you look at the person who created the monsters, if you look at his Artstation, you'll find that they actually only had a couple of heads, a couple of bodies of these demons, and then like 3 or 4 heads, and then they just mixed and matched as they went along, which is brilliant. It's sort of like a time saver. We just finished doing the leg this week, sculpting, so I better not get this wrong. Definition-wise, I think I'm going to make these thinner, though. Just keep looking around your model as well. Cakester says, this creature reminds me of the strange creature from a new film called Together. I haven't seen that. Is it any good? Is it a horror film? Or is it... Well, it must be a horror film if it looks like this. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to... Like I said, I haven't had a chance to watch many horror films. I did watch that Weapons. I don't know if you guys know that film called Weapons. Apparently that was supposed to be horror, but it wasn't really that bad. To be fair. Interesting, but not a horror film. Okay, we're going to add the ribs now, so the rib cage will sit through here. Disappear through here. Okay. Yeah, it's looking all right. Not sure what we're going to do with the feet. I hate doing feet. I think I might mention this in the other live stream, but I hate making the legs look real, or actually sculpting legs. It's just it's not a very interesting thing to sculpt, really. Anybody seen Good Boy yet? Is that the one with a dog? It's apparently like a dog, and I've seen a poster for it, but I haven't seen it yet. Is that something to do with a dog? An apocalypse or something? Caser says, It's a horror film about a couple that explore a cave and get sort of infected by this liquid that drives them to join together like conjoined. Oh, God. All right. That's a bit odd. No, I haven't seen that. Interested, though. I have seen Descent, The Descent. Has anyone else seen the film The Descent? That's got a pretty cool creature or monster in it. And I think it's set in Scotland as well, which is kind of weird. So and kind of give it a bigger top half, I guess, and really bring out the shape of this back. Maybe maybe make it really thin in the chest area here. Kind of like he's a bit gaunt. Oh yeah, Cakester. I want to see that as well. Black Phone 2. I haven't even seen the first one, but I saw the advert for Black Phone 2 on the TV or YouTube. I don't know which was, but that looks really cool. Actually, that film. I didn't even realize there was a first one. But hey, okay, so just pencil in. So we're trying to make him very thin, make him very anemic. Is it anemic? Or I don't know, whatever the word is. I'm sorry, I'm trying to talk and sculpt at the same time is one of the hardest things I think I've ever done, is talk and sculpt at the same time. So bear with me if my English is not great. You see, other sort of live streamers, they don't have to, well, apart from 3D live streamers, but other live streamers like film reviewers and stuff, they don't have to worry about sculpting a character as well as talking about subjects. So they quite easily just be able to talk and talk and talk and not get distracted. Good Boy is a horror film from a dog's point of view, because in films a trope is usually the pets always know something's wrong when a supernatural presence is around. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So it's kind of like is it one of those shaky cams sort of from the point of view of the dog, or is it filmed in third person? You know. Okay, so it says the first Black Phone was really good. I'm gonna have to look into it. I never saw anything about first film on any trailers or anything, so that's odd. Ray Arzord Gaming says hello. No, we're working on the Callisto Protocol creature tonight. We'll start in it at least, as well as taking any questions you might have on films or games or anything like that. Try to keep it chilled as much as possible. I'm not doing this. It's not a tutorial by any means. This is just me sculpting away and you guys watching and me talking a load of gumph whilst I go. Getting the head right is so difficult. I find it with creatures without any head or eyes, sorry, like, well, actually they have got eyes, but creatures with large mouths like this are quite difficult to do, actually, like Venom and Carnage and all the Marvel films and stuff like this. It's difficult to do because you got to get the shape of the head right, you know? You don't get the shape of the head right, then it's going to throw it off completely. So there'll be a lot of like times when I'm just sculpting away, trying to find the right shape in the character. Let's make his, what do you call it again? Trapeze, I think they're called. A little larger. I should know that. We've just been doing a whole tutorial based on anatomy. Oh, he says, Tomorrow says, no, not shaky cam, but it very low budget. Okay, well, you know, you got to start somewhere, I guess. Most films were low budget at one point. The Black Phone one was very original. Black Phone 2 is heavily inspired by Freddy Krueger. Okay, Dream Warriors, which is almost a different genre, so should be interesting. Okay. Arzard Gaming says, I remember watching one of your videos in 2021. Is Venom sculpting? And it was very great video and too helpful. Oh, well, as long as it was too helpful. But thank you very much. Yeah, I've since 2011 or was it 2021? Yeah, moved up quite a bit since 2021. The general idea of my YouTube channel was to stay anonymous. You know, the artist, like a Banksy type character, just creating artwork and not really showing my face. But you know, after everybody went back to work after the pandemic, there was a need, I guess, for me to up or change things up a bit on my YouTube channel to keep it going. So decided to do some more live streaming, or started to do live streaming, sorry. I'm still not very good at it. I could be better, but I don't know. Not the greatest live streamer. Okay. Just having a look at this real quick. Just take my watch off. It's buzzing, getting on my nerves. Right. I think the arms are a bit too big. The shoulders are a bit too big. So we're just going to make them smaller. I'll bring the collarbone in. I typically like to sculpt in a T pose or A pose, such as this, because that's just how me as a character artist would sculpt something. I do realize that you can sculpt sort of in a pose, but it's a lot harder to do and a lot more complex, because you have to be able to if you're doing a pose, and you have to know how the muscles will look in that pose. They can't just be relaxed as they are in the sort of A pose, right? So if you're going to do that, make sure you have enough references around you to be able to sculpt in a pose. It's good practice, actually, to sculpt in a pose. I don't do it nearly enough as I should, but I should do it sometimes. It's like if you go to a life drawing course, right? And you get given 20 minutes to draw what's in front of you, and you can't really be too careful with the detail. That's how I see sculpting in a pose. To me, it's like that. It's like doing like a workshop type thing, you know. That's how I see it anyway. But you can get some really good looking sculpts if in posed versions, or in posed situation, posed way as well. Oh, thank you, Cakester. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I might have the voice of a boring old man, but thank you very much. Cool. Again, it doesn't help me. It doesn't help, like the whole speaking and sculpting doesn't really help the situation very much. Trying to focus on two things. Okay, so just damn standard, right? Just going to break up the arms now. So let's get the tricep in here. again, we're not working too hard with the brush. We're not pushing it down too much. We're trying to build things up slowly. That's the best way to sculpt, is to build things up slowly rather than go full board and go crazy with it. Okay. How's everybody's month been, by the way? Is everybody having a good month? Let me know what your favorite month is. Like I say, my favorite month is Halloween, obviously. I like the fall colors, the autumn as well, on the trees and stuff like that. I actually, in my living room, I've got a feature wall. We call it a feature wall here, where I've painted it like a orange, but like a pumpkin orange. Don't ask why, I just like the color. And it's also got some sort of dark grays as well. But yeah, I'd say that this time of year is my favorite. Apart from Christmas, obviously. But the whole... Actually, my favorite film for Christmas is not what you think. It's not Die Hard, which is everybody's favorite film. It's Krampus. I love a horror film on Christmas. I think they should have more horror films for Christmas. That's that long muscle there. Hamid says, I really like the pose of that mutant creature you made before, the one that's also in the Pure Ref board right now. How did you come up with the idea of that pose? Honest to God, I have no idea. I think I just wanted to make it asymmetrical and sort of creepy at the same time. I just wanted him to be very, like, sort of searching, if that makes sense, like searching for what he's trying to hunt, type thing. So that's where that sort of came from, that inspiration for that. As he just sort of locks eyes with the camera, which is the person he's been looking for. Okay, got some good stuff going here. What I might do is, actually, I'll have it with two. Yeah, we'll leave the hands as it is, with 5 fingers on one arm. I mean, I'm sculpting symmetrically right now, but eventually I'm going to break that and make one arm slightly different to the other. It's important to have some sort of asymmetry in your characters or creatures, I guess. Sorry, 1 second. I'm gonna sneeze. No, good. Okay. I don't know how someone like Asmongold or those VTubers or YouTubers or kick streamers or whatever you call them, I honestly don't know how they spend 9 hours. 9 hours on a stream. I think I'd go crazy if I had to spend 9 hours streaming. Okay, gonna start to really push the boundaries with this design now, or push the boundaries, just change it up a bit. So we want to make it slightly, make him slightly thinner. Emancipated. Is it called emancipation? Or I can't remember what it's called. Emancip? No, something like that. Yeah. So he's going to look quite thin, as you can see. So we're still building out the block, building out the base forms for him, and playing around with it. And this is the greatest thing about separate emanciated. That's the one. Thank you very much, Tamara. This is a great thing about sculpting things separately, is that you can play around with each individual piece and not actually break the other parts. And please excuse me if I've said that before. Okay. So it's not a bad beginning. Now, a lot of this is going to be driving or driven with alpha maps. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know what that is like later on, obviously. We can also maybe make the arms slightly longer. Just a tad bit. If you just bring out a little bit. And also the legs. Get that creepy proportions right, you know what I mean? Kater says, what is your favorite software to use, not including ZBrush or Photoshop? Kind of got me there. I do a lot of video editing. I don't think video editing's the best one to use. I like Substance Painter. I do like Substance Painter. I don't do enough Substance Painter, obviously, on my channel or anything like that. But that's because it takes quite a while to set up and whatnot. I do, at some point, want to create, get that dragon from Dragonheart retopoed and textured. I take it to the full whack, right? Take it all the way. Or I can use one of the old sculpts that I've got and retopo that and then take that through Substance Painter and show you the basics of how to use that. But yeah, Substance Painter is one of my other favorites. I was a texture artist before, and I think texture artists have the fun job because they don't have to, well, apart from sculpting obviously, but they don't have to worry about the sculpt because the sculpt's there. All they got to do is make the thing look realistic. So I think texturing's the other part I like quite a bit. Dragon Shman says, always repeat your knowledge. We can never learn it the first time we heard it. Oh, okay. Well, get ready for the repeat button, constant repeat button. Speaking of, it's always a good idea to constantly rotate around your model and zoom out as well, because you can get sort of too obsessed with one area for too long, and that's what a lot of artists might actually be doing wrong with their sculpts, is that they're focused on, say, this part of the model or the face for too long, right? They finally get the model they want out of the face, how they like it, they zoom out, and all of a sudden it's the rest of the model's not looking great, right? So it's always a good idea to rotate and to sculpt all over your model, then rather than just on one fixed area of your model. Especially at the beginning stage. When you start to do fine detailing, then by all means you can do whatever you like. You can go in and you can sculpt in that one area for like one session and then come back and do the next part. But for the beginning stages where you're blocking things in, it's best to rotate around as many times as you can around your model to get a view from all angles, basically. Okay, so I'm going to, now that I've got the body proportions the way I like it, I'm going to come in to the head, because the head needs a bit of TLC. It looks a bit weird right now. I think it always looks weird until you put the teeth into your character, so that's something that you can keep in mind, is the head will always look a bit weird until you add the teeth, but we need to be able to house the teeth. So let's just take a look at this head that he's got here. So we need to pull in the jaw from the sides, make the head slightly larger on top. And his ears, pull these down. Because he has got ears, because remember this character or creature is part of human, and it's a virus. I think it's a virus, or it's a something to do. I mean, that's the thing about this game, right? I find that it's got so many similarities to Dead Space. You might as well just call it Dead Space. But I think it's a virus that's just created this. I haven't got too far with the game, watching the game, so I might be wrong, but I think it's a virus. If anyone else wants to chime in on the chat and let me know, that'd be great. Okay. We're going to make this hollowed out a bit more. Now that we have a bit more Dynamesh going on, we can just add a bit more in here. Come to the side. I'm going to force this up because what I'm going to do is add some of this sort of detail later. Add some more geo. And yep, down standard. Yeah. So this is sort of represent this area around here. I don't know, because I don't know if you guys can see it properly, but the way I sculpt is through this Dynamesh. I can see what I want to create. It's a bit difficult actually when you first start sculpting to see the bigger picture through. If you're using this technique, like Dynamesh technique, it's difficult to see the bigger picture at this stage because all you want is to get on and sculpt that detail, right? I mean, everybody goes nutters for the detail, but it's actually at this point that you should actually be able to see the detail or visualize the detail of your sculpt even, and just work in some lines and be able to see, oh, that will be, that will be the jaw area. So you could just line it up like that. That's the jaw sort of thing. But you should be able to see it before you create, before you get to the detailing stage. I'm just rambling now. Do not switch to DT. Right. Let's. There we are. Okay, let's make this jaw a little bit more interesting. And by the way, if you do feel like I'm talking a bit too much in these videos, please do let me know. if you prefer just to see me sculpting instead of chatting, let me know in the chat, and I can just do some sculpting instead. Hamid says, I played I played first 3 Dead Space games. My favorite is Dead Space 2. I think Callisto Protocol heavily inspired by Dead Space game. Yeah, I think Dead Space 1 was, although I didn't play it, I think it's my favorite one because it's just iconic, obviously. But also Dead Space 3, you can kind of see when they were trying to make it a bit more PG, I would say, with the introduction of military-grade weapons and stuff and the ability to unlock things for your guns. Now, those were cool features, but it kind of pulled away from the horror aspect a bit too much, I find, because the idea of Dead Space is to be bricking yourself in your pants the whole time whilst you play, because you might run out of weapons, or it's supposed to be, the atmosphere is supposed to be scary. But when you start introducing like shooty machine guns and stuff like that into the game, then you lost all that horror factor, especially when they had the 2-player co-op as well. in that because I played that when I was younger with my brother through the live link or something like that on Xbox. Anyway, yeah, when you start adding co-op into it, as well as the other features like the guns and too much ammo, if you know what I mean, it pulls away from the horror aspect. I think all horror games should be one player maximum, and then not limitless ammo, but the other one, the limited ammo. Otherwise, it's just pointless. Okay. How's that looking? Is that looking a little bit better? It looks a bit weird because of such a wide gap there, but which hopefully we'll be able to add some of this stringiness. Where is it? I mean, he's got quite a wide gap in his mouth there, so it should be fine. I think what I need to do is, instead of having it sort of looking like a smile, I should be pushing it down like that. And then all this is just a mess of skin. There we are, that's better. And it looks like he hasn't got much of a neckline, so we could just add some folds of skin in here. But it's a good idea to add these sort of landmark pieces, right, that you would see on a relatively skinny person, so then you can actually build on top of that afterwards, so you have a sort of structural base for that sort of thing. Right. Okay. The head's looking pretty good now. We'll just add some fat fold around the back of his neck here. And once we've added it to the body, we'll just blend it in anyway. So let's look at the ear real quick. There's plenty of ways to sculpt ears. I normally sculpt it with a sort of C, and then at the back here, well, actually I need more geometry, so we'll leave it for now. Let's actually make this more. There we are. So I like to, there's plenty of ways to do it, but I just like to put a big canal or a big hole just in here, smooth it out a little bit. Put a hole there, and then grab the dam standard and do a C. And this C also touches this edge here. And then you can, using the clay buildup, pull the inside of the ear out. This is just basic form, obviously. Then you have to go in and detail it. So just using the move brush, just make it slightly thinner on the top. Carve out this ear on the back side. And then also make it look like it's detached from, or attached in this area here with the dam standard. And then that's actually one of the good things about sculpting the ear in early like this, is that you can actually see how the head should sit or should be on the side here. So there should be a bit of a mass on the side here. So if you clean up your ear at the beginning, you'll be able to make the proportions a little bit better earlier on. Okay, we'll just move some. Yeah, there we are. Just use the standard brush real quick to put some basic line work in here. So this is like the torn up skin. We're representing it for now, just so we can see the difference between the dark red and the skin on the outside. Now we have to build up that jaw, the bottom here. There we are. So these teeth will sit in here, and we'll just make this all torn up flesh going all the way up. And we'll add some pustules and stuff like that later on. All right. Just using the move brush real quick to move things about. The trim dynamic, just gonna trim that top of the head a bit. Now I was thinking for this month I'll pause on the portfolio review, and we'll just continue the sculpt at the end of the month, so that we can try and get this done, or get as much of this done as possible. And then we'll have the portfolio reviews for November instead, if that's all right with everyone else. I just want to spend some more time on this horror type theme rather than going through portfolios this month. So right now, just adding some squiggly lines with the dam standard, just to give the illusion of muscle. So you can see it's not coming back. It's not too bad, actually. Right, let's look at it from a distance. And does that fit all right? That looks like it fits all right. Just going to push it in a tad. Like I said, it's going to be a lot better once we put the teeth in. In fact, let's add some quick teeth for now. Let's use a standard primitive. The best way I know of making teeth is this method, where you just get cylinder symmetry on. Oops. I'm going to pinch 1/2 and smooth it out until it becomes like a cone, like so. What is that? Oh, it's a body. Yeah. So I'm going to return to the front of this face, and I'm just going to undo a few times. Yeah. So I'm going to try and duplicate what we see here with this tooth. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the big fang. Now, I like to work on one side first, and then I will duplicate it over. It's just a quicker method for me than to do every single tooth separately. Right. We might just rotate them slightly, but just slightly as we create them. Whoops, scale. You'll also change the length of them as well. Nothing too precious right now because we haven't set them all in stone yet. So just keep that in mind. Right. Let's move this closer to the gum actually. Yeah, just going to move those closer in. All right. Duplicate this one. And for the middle teeth, asymmetry is probably your best bet, just to make it look more interesting as well. So I tend to make the middle teeth more asymmetrical. Now, this does make it a little bit more difficult to sculpt later on, but if you wanted to make this for a real character creature, then you will have to have asymmetry anyway. But for a concept piece, not so much, because you can just do the paint over inside of Photoshop later on. Anyway, let's move that right there. Okay, let's just mirror this one over. I'm going to append it as a new one, just so I can gauge how far they are from each other, these teeth, so I can actually move these into proper position. There we go. And just grab this one. And I'm going to mirror these 4 over to the other side, just for ease of mind. We got two big teeth on the sides here. I'm going to mirror this over as a new one. All right. Let's mirror these ones over and merge them because they're going to be symmetrical. We'll come in here and we'll clean up the subtool palette in a minute. I just want to make sure that I've got everything exactly how I like it first. Right. It's a bit of a mess at the bottom here with his teeth. And there's a whole different sort of, there's just loads of different scales of the teeth going on in here. So we're not going to be too precious about the bottom teeth. Some would say that it's very reminiscent of English people's teeth. I tend to agree. Some things Family Guy and the Americans do get right about the English and their teeth, unfortunately. Right, let's move this one in here. Put this one there. Right. It's actually a good idea to put the teeth in as soon as you can, because you can then sculpt the gum line. Sorry, I just got distracted there. The gum line for your teeth. Click that. And I just realized that the gum line is going to be asymmetrical. Which is just what I will need. asymmetrical gum line. Let's delete that one actually. Duplicate this one and put this as a rogue tooth. Here we are. Okay. Now I'm going to do some changes to the teeth. Now that's why I tried not to merge them too soon, so that I can go in now and I can actually play around with this, with the teeth individually, and shape them individually just a little bit, so that they're not all the same. Just using the move brush. Give it a bit more of an arch to them. All right. Let's move this one in. There we are. Okay, now we have the teeth. We've got some basic teeth in there. I'm just going to start to pull and push this geometry. Also sculpt along the gum lines. We might need to do it some asymmetrically. Yeah. And also on the inside of the gum here, just going to expand it. The same thing for the bottom one. There we are. Let's make a throat, I guess. Not to be too precious about that. Right, in the gum line, we can just add some squiggles for detail. Yeah, I should do more proper detailing work stuff, but I don't know. For me, it's the enjoyment is all in sculpting quick. Just moving these teeth in a little bit, because if you see here, it's got a nice arch going on the concept. So just try to mimic that. Okay. Just carving away the skin. All right. Just pull away from it quick and just see what it looks like from a distance. Right, there we go. That's not too bad. Cool. Right, now we have a pretty good head now and a pretty good point of detail. Point of detail? Stage of detail. Now move on to the body and get that to the next stage. So let's bump up the resolution. And let's get going. So let's have a look at what we've got here. Reference wise, I quite like this sort of body that's going on here. Same with this one. Of course, ours is going to be a little bit more decayed or decayed. I'm just going to say decayed. I can't remember that word. The other word. Right. Just clean up this neck area quick. Come around to the back of the head here quick and just pull down these traps a little bit. One, two, stomach. There we are. Oh, I know what I need. Need some hips on him. Could, as I did in the last one, my other sculpt, just pull his stomach in some more. Giving it a look like he's got a collapsed stomach. Yeah. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, please go ahead and ask in this live stream. Also, I am having a 50% off everything. I think you can see that from the ticker tape below on my online stores. You can find more information for that in the description box below. Let's break up that chest a bit. And if you want to watch any of the former live streams, you can become a member of the YouTube channel and grab those ones as well. There's some great stuff in there, from tutorials to portfolio reviews and the like. Okay. As we go in further and further, I'm thinking I'm just adding more and more fatness to him. So just need to remember that he's going to be a skinny guy. Okay, let's move on down. Actually, let's go down the arms first. As you can see on these arms here, they've not got a lot going on. They're quite thin. There's some of these ones there's a bit more going on, but that's more of like deformation, sort of mutation, sorry, on the characters or the creature. So we need that for one arm, but we don't need it for both arms. But we're going to continue with the symmetry until I feel there's a good point there to break up the symmetry. Yeah, that face is actually helping sell the idea of the creature a bit more. What we're going to do with these arms? 1 second. Let me just check the arms real quick on another character. That's too much. Too little, sorry. Okay. So we want a thinner. Oops. We want a thinner bicep. And tricep. We don't want him to be too muscular, as this would probably be one of the generic creatures that you would find inside of Calypto or Callisto Protocol. I always say Calypto for some reason. I don't know why. And the forearm will be just a little thicker. Going to inflate the forearm. And we can make this point here, the elbow, slightly thinner. Just add to that a little bit of creepy, not quite human look. Proportions-wise, from the proportions. When in doubt, use a damn standard. Get that view. That's a nice view. Really make this arm quite thin. almost like we need to get rid of this massive muscle underneath here. Okay, moving down the arm. Now the hand, I need to add some more resolution because it's just getting completely lost in here. So Dynamesh with a bit more resolution, just smooth it off a little bit. And let's get some detailing going. I'm going to just put some basic shapes down for the detailing of the hand because there's quite a bit of detail that goes into hands, but for general conceptual purposes or concept purposes, I'm just going to put down some of the landmark features of the hand. We also need to make these fingers a little fatter. So another good thing about using a already made body is that you don't have to worry about making the small digits like the fingers, if you can Dynamesh it properly. Because when you Dynamesh it tries to blend the fingers in with one another, so just be very careful how you do that. Move it up the arm. I'm just going to use a clay brush because it's not supposed to, because these guys are prisoners, right, of the Callisto moon. I think Callisto's a moon in the game. So they're not well treated, they're not well fed, they're kind of gangly, and they're the worst prisoners in the world or the universe that go there. I think that's how they said it in the game. Set up in the game, so yeah, they wouldn't be big strong people. There we are. Just define that lateris dorsi or latimus dorsi. I think it's the lateris dorsi. I can't remember. I'm losing my vocabulary. Right. So yeah, we're just cleaning up the geometry now, using Dam Standard and some other basic brushes. We're not near the detailing stage whatsoever. We haven't even attached the body to the rest of the body yet. So if you feel like you're at that point where you're sculpting detail and you're at this stage, then stop, because this is just a block out still. Okay, so we got the hands, arms, kind of to the same stage as the body, which is good. Let's grab clay build up real quick. Start on the legs. I probably won't get finishing this. I won't finish this model tonight. I think I'm going to be getting to finishing the legs and then having a look at this. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask me before I get to the end of the leg stage, probably be the best time to do that, because we've done quite a bit. I mean, this is an hour 10, I want to say, because we had about 10 minutes of introductions and stuff. I would say that that's not too bad for an hour and 10 work. Come in here and just proportion and make these proportions a bit better. Yeah, not bad for an hour and 10 minutes worth of work so far. Let's grab some of these legs down here and we just check, see what they've done with the legs. Oh, they've all got clothes on. That's great. Oh, we got some here. Hamid says, have you ever used Houdini, or you really don't need to learn Houdini to implement in your workload? No, I haven't used Houdini before. I don't use Houdini. Haven't felt the need to learn it. I think the pipeline I use or Studio uses, unless you are a Houdini artist, it's not quite needed, if you know what I mean. It's not like it's an essential thing to have as a character artist, is Houdini skills. Houdini is mainly, I say mainly, it's predominantly, as far as I can recall, used for VFX in film and games. They can also do procedural stuff as well, or make sort of, what do you call it? You can do loads of things with Houdini, is what I'm trying to say. But for me personally, no, I don't tend to look into it. It's one of those ones, if you don't really have a good system, like machine. I have got one now, a good machine now, but if you haven't got a good machine, then it's going to be difficult, because it's a lot of simulation work, I believe, in Houdini. So yeah, I never had the machine to take it or handle it, and I kind of want to keep this machine for mainly sculpting and video editing and stuff like that as well. Because once you start doing simulations, you know, then you're running into other, not issues, but could become issues, I guess, with your machine if it's not correctly set up for that sort of thing. Maybe, I don't know. It's I don't really tend to look into Houdini. It's just not one of those things I've always ever been interested in doing. Okay, let's make these legs slightly more creepy. You know, we're going to do that by just bowing them out a little bit more. Maybe bow it out. Bow it out. Thin them near the crotch, I guess. Yeah, this is where it starts to make or break, I think, when it comes to the legs. This is all where it will make or break your creature or character, because you got to make sure it looks good with the legs. It's the other way around, this way. Yeah, I think Tomorrow's right. It's lots of particle effect sims in Houdini. I'll tell you what, though, if you become good at Houdini, then you are in a job straight away. There's a lot of studios that are looking for good VFX artists who can do Houdini, or just artists that can use Houdini in general. Mostly for film. There are some applications for it in game. I guess you could do it for the VFX side of stuff in game, but it's mainly more sought after in film. Okay, I'm gonna leave the feet for now. Oh, sorry. Gabrielle says, question, why do you use different subtools for different body parts? Is it easier to work with? Yes. If you did everything on one subtool or one body piece, then, especially when you're using Dynamesh, it calculates the entire thing and then gives you active polygons through that. This is difficult to explain, but it's easier to use different or separate subtools when creating a creature. That way you can manipulate it easier and sculpt it separately from the rest of it, and really make sure that everything is how you like it before you merge it together, right? That's the best way I can explain it. It's better to have it separate than it is to have it as one piece. Especially at the beginning stages. But like I said, once we get into it, we can then go ahead and break it up. We can break up the symmetry and stuff like that. We'll first have to merge it, obviously. But getting a basic shape like this done first with separate pieces is way more beneficial, because you can come in here now. Let's say I didn't want to see the arms. I can just hide the arms and see how the creature looks without arms, and we don't have to worry if I'm going to sort of move this here, but I don't want to touch anything on the arm. It's better to do it with separate geometries so that you don't move the arm geometry. It's kind of it is the best way to sculpt, really, is separate pieces. See, I'm sculpting here, but I'm not touching the arm here now. So I'm getting rid of the geometry that are around this piece, and then I can come in and manipulate the arm separately. As long as the pieces all fit together in the end, that's all that matters. Could do something with the spine here, maybe. We'll just add some, we'll just add something in the spine area, give it a bit more interest. I actually quite like sculpting the back of creatures, even though you don't see it much in my artwork. It's quite fun to sculpt the back of creatures, because you can go crazy with the spine and whatnot. Okay. Now, if you're creating a creature or character, you have to make sure that it's got a good balance of detail. So, what I mean by this is, if you look at our creature now, we're trying to make it a thin creature, right? We're not trying to make it muscular or anything like that. So, just make sure that there's an even distribution of detail that conveys that on your creature. So you can see here on the ribs, we have these sort of skin, the sort of skin that is stretching because the muscles are tight or shrinking. I think it's in here. You can see it's best in here. Let me just show you what I mean. Let me just make this bigger. Okay, so what do I mean by what I was saying? If we have a look at, let's have a look at this guy. So you can see here the amount of detail on him is in key areas, and the look of him is continued around the whole model, right? So we have, like I say, we got the detail on the skin and the stomach area where it's quite wrinkly, but then that's also continued onto the arms, down the arms, and generally all over the character, right? The boils are in specific areas, but this also makes it interesting and keeps the eye moving around the character or creature quite a lot, but it's not distracting. Now, if we move over to this one, I would say that this is far too much. So you're doing far too much with this creature. Now, this creature is probably something that is, I don't know, in a sewer or is over mutated, but you can see there's not a lot of landmarks apart from the sort of tubes or whatever you want to call these things, like the vines on him and some of these boils, but the rest of it just looks like noise, right? It's the idea of resting spots or resting areas on your character in a sort of balance between detail and rest. If we move over to this one, this is actually quite a good example, right? Even though I'm still not 100% happy with the top piece here. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is there's a level of detail, which is the arms and the head or the shoulder area, and then the rest or the resting part for your eyes is the sort of midriff area, right? So you got all this chaos, and then you got nice sort of calmness in the detail around here, and then it goes down to the pants, which is another breakup. It's another interesting thing to look at, and then back down to the feet, and you can see the feet are basically like the stomach. So it's got that pattern going where it's rest, detail on this character. Same thing for this face. You see, you've got a natural human face on this side, but then we have the detail on this side, which is a bit more chaotic. It's all about a good balance when it comes to the sort of detailing of the characters. This is a more extreme version as well, but it's sort of there, same thing. I think this one is always sort of crawling on its stomach, so you'll only see the top half of him or the back half of him anyway. This one's a really nice sculpt. I think this one is sculpted from Lucas Starkey, or his name's Starkey, Luke Starkey. Yeah, you can see how he's used the idea of detail and flow with his character. So you can see the flow of the disease on this creature is kind of flowing from this arm here across his body and down to the other side of his body. And same thing with his face. It sort of spreads onto the other side of his face, leaving natural pieces or natural rest pieces in his work on this creature. Because a lot of the times, well, this is just a complete mess of a monster, which is fine because I think that's what they were going for. They just wanted this absolute behemoth of a monster for this creature. But like I was saying, or like I was starting to say, I see that a lot with new artists or new artists are quite new to the sculpting or the digital realm or creature design, is that they like to throw as much detail as possible onto the creature without having a little bit less detail and more of a thought out process of where they wanted to put detail on their creature. when you start to think that way, then it's your characters and creatures start to make a bit more sense when it comes to the final piece. So it's not all about detail everywhere. It's where can I put the detail? What am I trying to portray with the creature and the sort of the look that we're going with this creature, and does it make sense as well? You know, sometimes you put detail in there and it doesn't make sense why it's there. But that's just a few things that I wanted to point out. So we can see on our creature here, we're trying to make it sort of the rhythm of the detail work. So we got resting area, some detail on the chest, on the stomach area, the detail on the legs, and then the rest area on top where these muscles are, rest, and then we'll have a detail on the feet once we get to the feet. The same with the arms. We'll have a rest area where the big shapes are maybe, and then as you get closer to the ends of the hands, they'll be more detailed in those areas. The face is quite obvious. The detail is in the inside of the mouth or the sort of the jaw area, and the rest of it is the resting period is on the outside, which will be out here, but we will be covering those with some well-placed sort of boils and stuff like that. So that's just something to keep in mind, like when you're sculpting, is to have an idea of sort of it's difficult to explain. Having a clear vision of what you're trying to portray with your creature. That's probably how I could say it best, I think. Hope that made sense. And proportions. Always make sure your proportions look good as well. Don't forget those. All right, so I think I'm going to stop it there. I think we got a good point of pause. I don't like this color. Hold on, change this to there. There we are. Cool. So I think we got a good starting point for our Callisto-inspired creature. We've done quite a bit, really, if you think about it. We've got the base shape in, we've got the base head in, and the base body, the legs are done. Well, yeah, apart from all the finicky little details, we've managed to get quite a bit of it done. Now, when it comes to the finicky details, we could add some broken out ribs like I've done on this one here, like puncturing his skin and then sculpt it in later. There's so much we can actually do with this creature now that we have it a base model for him, right? But we'll continue this on next time, though. Just gonna check the chat real quick. Joseph asks, what is the trick to avoid any anomaly at the connection points when you merge the subtool? I think the best thing when it comes to merging subtools is to make sure that they both, so you can see here the armpit here, right? It's going to have an anomaly here when we merge it, because it might not, as long as it's not too far out. If it's like this, right, then you're definitely going to pick up some anomalies. So we can see here on the edge here, we got this very thin face going on here. This is going to be an anomaly, an anomaly when we merge it. So best thing to do if you find really thin pieces like that is just to inflate it a little bit, so it gives it a little bit more detail, or a little bit more thickness, and then you can just smooth it out. I think the best thing when you start to merge things together is to use a combination of inflation, smooth, and move. But before you merge things, make sure that they are intersecting each other a little bit, so that you can so that Dynamesh, when it comes to Dynameshing them together, will be able to pick up that they are supposed to be one piece. So you can see here on the back of his shoulder, I'll just push that in, and that should just be fine. There shouldn't be any anomalies there. Hope that's answered the question. Cool. All right, so I'm going to leave it there, guys. Kind of tired. My room has become a sauna, and I am absolutely sweating. I hope everyone's enjoyed this very first stage of creating a creature from the Callisto Protocol, the game. Just going to check real quick. Right. Nope, that's good. Cool. Now let me just push me to the front. There you go. Turn off the comments real quick. Thank you everybody for being in a live stream. If you want to head out now, you can. But thank you very much for joining tonight. I just want to say a big thank you to my YouTubers, my members, YouTube members, Lexi, Blake, Tygon, Wang, Fantine Dat, ZBrush, I think that's ZBrush Argentina, but I think I spelled it wrong. Those are the new ones. There's some other new ones as well, but I forgot to add them, so I'll add them for next week. For 1 monthers, I got Zuken. I think that's the way you say it. Yodai, KO, Caesar Sculpts, Joseph, Monroe, Souza, and Omega. And my 2 monthers, we got Abish, Paswan, Wesley, VSWAT, Sheriff Enix, Dylan Dixon, MHN Artist, EMAC 3D, EFTV Section Seville, Black Socrates, Sunel, Verma, Tobias HK, Homeslice Creative, DigiLocker Art and Design, and Krishnash Sharma. I have got some other art members in there, the Asian Persuasion, but I can't read their dialect, so I'm just going to I can't read them, so I'm just going to leave them as they are. Sorry, guys. 6 monthers, Joseph Balkowski, Dave Newhouse, Mateo Selek, Alpernative 35, Ganesh, Jace Burgoyne, Joe Lewis Fatis, Ivan Savoy, Maria Carvalho, Nicholas Anastasio, and another Asian guy. Thank you very much. I will update this at some point. I'll hopefully have it updated by next week, because we got some new guys, and I think people have moved up the row, up the YouTube memberships, so I will update that for next week. And of course, my Patreon members, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys as well. Okay, tier 2, Alberto R. D. La Flora, Best in Shot, Gradual Boredom, Jason E. Canville, Joseph Bonkowski, King Amp, Chrono, Lost in Limbo, Makai 903, Rafael Diaz, Shabiso, Malepo, Thassa, and Tom Uro. And in tier 3, we have Aaron Topman, Annika, Ecole, Francois de Pelatosh, Owen Vandermine, Gabrielle, Ganesh, Hofi76, Jack Bauer, Jeremy Mock, Mahiva, Rodya, Tyler Kraus, and Yovoken. Okay. And also an Asian, Asian, I believe is Asian. Thank you very much, you guys, for being members. I think I got to update that on as well at some point. So, yeah, I have to see. Thanks, guys, for being in tonight. This has been the Callisto Protocol Part 1, I guess you could call it. We will be continuing it on next week, but I hope everyone has a great weekend. Join me on Monday, where we'll be looking at the 30-minute sculpts of the leg. So we'll be doing some practice work on the leg anatomy again. And then, of course, Thursday we'll be continuing this on. But I just want to say thank you very much for staying in tonight. And hopefully it's been interesting. Yeah. Thank you very much. And I'll see you all on Monday. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more exclusive content and want to support my work further, then please check out my Patreon page at MLW_creative for more. Also, view past live streams you might have missed in Tier 3 tutorial support, where I will be archiving future streams moving forward. If you are interested in other full-length tutorials, brushes, and models, then check out my online stores for more useful content. I would also like to thank all my subscribers and patrons for supporting me for this long. Again, thanks for watching and stay safe.